What does gutsy mean to you, my friend?
Oh my goodness. When I first connected with you and I saw the work that you were doing, it connected to me in terms of full out living. Like it feels like it is such a risk to live full out. It is such a powerful move to make certain that you are where you're meant to be, that you are living your truth authentically and showing up how you need to show up and making an impact, a positive impact in the process. So that's what that means to me. It means living my life from a place that, yes, there's fear, but I'm still going to do it anyway.
Welcome to the Gutsy Podcast, the show where you learn how to own what you actually want and shift the mind junk that's been holding you back. I'm Laura Ora, keynote speaker, coach, and your guide to help you get clarity, build confidence, and make the gutsy moves that change your life. Each week, I'm going to help you simplify things by teaching you how to get out of your head while stepping into action. This way you can achieve all those life shifts that you've been overthinking. Your desire, that drives you. But gutsy, that's what gets it done. If you've ever taken a no or a missed opportunity and turned it into a personal rejection, friend, this episode is going to shift something big for you. Maybe it was a job you didn't get, a pitch that wasn't accepted, an invitation that was declined, or even sharing your truth and having it land with silence. We've all put something on the table, an offer, an idea, a request, and felt crushed when it didn't go the way that we hoped it would. Today, I'm joined by Tanesha Moody, and we're unpacking the difference between you being rejected and your offer being rejected, because they are not the same thing. She's here to help you lead with boldness, resilience, and the kind of self-trust that doesn't waver even after a no. Tanesha is a speaker, leadership and resilience coach, and founder of Full Out Coaching. With a background in professional theater and leadership roles at Salesforce, Disney, Under Armour, and Marriott, she helps leaders and teams build resilience, own their value, and show up full out, especially in the face of setbacks. Known for her high energy and practical strategies, Tanesha empowers people to navigate rejection, embrace feedback, and step confidently into new opportunities. I'm telling you, if you tend to internalize rejection, this episode is an absolute must and a replay. Let's get into it. Hello, Tanesha. Welcome to the Gutsy Podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm actually really kind of excited to dig into this conversation because I think it's so incredibly relatable for the business owners that are listening. Getting wrapped up in, your identity, wrapped up in your offers, and when people say no and when you get ghosted, and it's just a very real thing that we take very personally. So very excited to dig into this. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your journey as an entrepreneur, and also like maybe a time when your offers were rejected and you made it be all about yourself.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having this conversation because I think it is an important one as well. And throughout my career, as well as in my personal life, rejection kind of just seemed to be a theme. I started first in professional theater, and of course, in theater, like you're auditioning, you're applying to things. I was a stage manager, so working behind the scenes, but it's still really competitive in that industry. So rejection is something that happens a lot. And then shifting into corporate, I had a chance to lead teams and events across the globe, which has been really exciting for some pretty cool companies, including Disney and Under Armour and Salesforce. But again, applying for those roles, sometimes you're receiving rejections as well. And something that really kind of rocked my world, though, was when I was actually laid off from Salesforce. I was a director there of events, and it felt like this was the role. Like I really appreciated the company, the culture, the work that I was going to be doing, but they had a reorg, and unfortunately my role was cut, and it felt so incredibly personal. It felt like that I was rejected for just being myself. And of course, when you get laid off in this economy, like you start applying to other roles, and I was getting pretty far in some of these opportunities, and then another rejection would come or ghosting would come. And just kind of compounding on top of that, I ended a relationship, friendships were getting rejected from hanging out with folks. And it just kind of hit me like, all right, I need to do something differently or see this differently so that this doesn't rock my world each time it happens. And through a lot of self introspection, as well as working with a coach and spending time with God, I started to realize, okay, all of these occurrences throughout all of my life, from my career, from my personal life, the recent ones, the past ones, were really about being rejected my offer. The rejection was towards my offer. It was not towards me personally. Whether it's, hey, I want to work for this job and offer my brilliance for this opportunity, or hey, I want to be in companionship with you right now, that was rejected, not me personally.
I love this kind of frame around the offer, not just being, hey, I'm selling something in my business, but a relationship, an application, an invitation to something. Like all of those things are offers, and we're experiencing rejection in capacity, huge capacity sometimes, right? Like I don't know about you, but I've just been in seasons where it's like no after no after no after no, and eventually you're just like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, am I the problem? I'm the common denominator here? Have you ever felt like, yeah, is it me? Is it something that I'm doing, or how did you kind of navigate that?
That definitely was something that came up. Was it me? Was I doing something wrong? Did I need to try a different approach or just reframe a couple of things? And that's the beautiful thing about rejection. I've learned having to dance with rejection so much is that there's so many gifts that come from it, and especially that feedback. Sometimes you do need to kind of shift your offer a little bit, maybe tweak it a little bit for the right person for the right moment. So that was a gift, but I didn't start to really realize that and uncover it until I really sat with rejection and actually started to seek them out. I started to put myself out there, and honestly, I was seeking rejections every single day. And some things I knew I was going to get rejected for. I was going to get a no in response because that is really how I define rejection. It's like if you put an offer on the line and it could be a yes and you get a no, that's rejection to me. So I was asking friends like, hey, you want to go dancing like 2 hours before, knowing that they would say no, or, swiping left or right on people, knowing that there might not be a connection there. And this kind of served as a data point for me. I started to collect these no's and to kind of define and understand, all right, when I receive a no, how do I feel about it? Like what emotions are coming up? What feelings? Where am I feeling that in my body? All right, let's kind of collect that data and put it to the side so that I know this. All right, what do I need to understand about myself when it comes to getting rejected? And having this information as I was increasing the number of rejections that I was experiencing really allowed me to understand, all right, yes, the common denominator is me in some sense of it, but it's always me putting the offer on the line. So it really helped for me to kind of reframe that, working with a lot of other people in terms of my coaches and, of course, myself, the different persons of myself inside my head. And it honestly kind of changed the trajectory of how I even approach business and how I approach opportunities now as an entrepreneur. Because if the worst that they can do is say no to the offer and I still get to be myself and that doesn't impact my purpose and my values, then all right, I'll put it on the line and see how it goes.
Wow. It's like in therapy, that exposure, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself in the position where you're building your tolerance and you're getting to know yourself. What was that like? Like when you would, you're putting yourself out there, you're getting all these no's, you're intentionally seeking these out. What was the goal with this? Like what was that experience like?
Initially, I felt like I wanted the goal to be my reaction time to recover was shorter. That I was getting into the framework and into the habit of, all right, rejection hit. Can we wallow in my sadness for a short period of time, realize, okay, it was the offer and keep it moving? Like, could my reaction time be a little bit tighter? Is really kind of the goal that I started to go for. And of course, depending on the offer that was on the line, that kind of fluctuated. If it was something major and I got to know, like, oh, okay, we're going to take a little bit of time to go ahead and get over this one. But if it was like, oh, we just got a rejection note from like an application that we put in 2023, okay, we can kind of move forward from that one now. So it really kind of allowed me to try to kind of make that a little bit more efficient was the goal that was initially there. I didn't have a set number of rejections in mind, but I did know at least one every day. Like that's worthwhile. We can manage that. We can get at least one a day, and that felt like that was a success and a win for me.
Why do you think that the no, the rejection, and definitely the ghosting? I don't know about you, but sometimes I find the ghosting way worse than the no. Like,
Hmm.
I just give me an answer. And like, I can process that, but the ghost, I got nothing to work with here.
Right.
Why do you think that the no's and the rejection feel so tough? Why do they feel so personal?
I really feel there's a lot of different reasons, and it differs from the person, but I know at the core for myself, I'm a creative. So you're putting your heart and soul into so many different things. I know I'm a writer as well. I'm working on a couple of writing projects, and uh, to have folks be like, "Oh, this doesn't resonate," or "This doesn't light me up inside," and I'm like, I just put my heart and soul into those words. And of course, I was a dancer previously too, so like you really want that instant kind of connection with the audience and for them to feel what you're feeling on stage. So I do feel like we just put so much into our offers, which makes it feel like a sting against ourselves. And to go around that, though, I really think something that kind of makes it so challenging for us to kind of separate the offer from ourselves is sometimes we don't actually know who we are. Now, that is something that I really kind of had to struggle and navigate around too, in tandem to navigating rejection. It was really kind of getting clear on who I am. And that's actually part of the framework that I made for myself. And I help the clients that I serve work through as well. Like I needed to clarify my purpose, my values, figure out my identity, as well as really kind of understand how I want to ripple my impact. And that's like part of my clear method, which I help walk folks through. And when I started to really get clear on who I was, it was kind of easier to be able to be like, all right, did they really kind of reject my value or my purpose, or did they reject what I just put on the line? And when we do not know who we are, when we don't know what we're stand for, what we're here for, it gets to be really challenging for us to navigate around rejection experiences.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. When you're talking about figuring out who you are, I mean, that's work in its own, right? And I know you've
Mhm.
got that fantastic method that you teach. What's maybe one of the fundamental pieces or one place that somebody could start if they're like, I'm not really sure where to go with this. How do I figure out who I am?
So I feel like one of the easiest places to start is around values. So values do change and fluctuate a little bit, depending on what we're going through in life, what's changed in terms of our family or things along those lines. So, but I do feel like there's a lot of easy work that can be done in terms of figuring out what your values actually are. And I worked with clients to kind of unpack, like, all right, when you look at some of the people that you admire, like, what are some of their qualities? So that can be a kind of a place to start there. Or when you think about a major decision that you recently made, like what factors played into that? That can kind of illuminate a path to what those values might be as well. And when you think about also the things that you're doing on a daily day basis, if you were to kind of break those down a little bit and uncover like which elements of it actually light you up inside, that could also kind of point towards values too. So doing the work of how I'm making decisions and which qualities or factors am I leaning into to understand and make those decisions and feel confident about them can help illuminate, all right, that might be a value for me. That might be something that's really important to me that I want to honor throughout my life on a daily basis.
Hmm. And how does having your values illuminated or defined help you to detach from the outcome of someone's decision? Like, I almost feel like, doesn't that make it a little bit more personal? Like, now you're rejecting me and my values, and I'm very deeply rooted in that. But I have a feeling there's a twist on this.
Yes, I love that. I feel for myself, take for example, like when you're creating something from scratch. like the way that you go about to create them, you probably have some kind of guardrails around them. And that's kind of how I see the values. Like, maybe when you're creating something, you don't want to hurt somebody. So like that's how you go ahead and create that thing. So that's potentially a guardrail of value. So when you're making that offer, when you're creating it, your values influenced how it came to be. But still, that all was applied and applicable to that offer. So, yes, it might feel like, okay, my values are the thing that got rejected, but no, just the way and the fashion that you created that offer was in alignment with your values. So it's still the offer that was eliminated, that was rejected, not you personally, not your personal values.
Got it. See, I knew there was a twist in there.
Yeah, I love that.
This is why we're talking it out. How do you recommend that we detach our identity to someone's decision? Because it becomes such a very personal thing. How do we start to create a gap where we're not taking it so personal, where it's not, I know that I've been in situations where a no or a rejection has just thrown me off my game for the rest of the
Mhm.
day. How do we create that separation?
I would say the best way to create that separation is to really, again, do that work up front so you know who you are. And then really define very clearly what the offer actually was. So sometimes this can be the most challenging part because if, like I mentioned, if we put our heart and our soul into it, it feels like, oh my goodness, they're rejecting us. But if you can define what the offer was, even if you applied to the job and you went through multiple stages, you were not the one that was rejected. It was the offer to actually join the team, to utilize your brilliance and your experience to make an impact to that company. So if you can really define that, it really helps to be able to separate yourself from the actual rejection experience. Something else that I love to lean on as well, and I have a lot of tools and tricks for navigating rejection. I've been gone through so many of them, is to actually celebrate the rejection. So figure out something that you can be grateful for that is a positive from this rejection experience. And that really kind of illuminates that, okay, again, it wasn't me that was rejected, it was the offer. I also have like a rejection character as well that shows up when I experience a no. She's a mime. She's not very good at miming at all. She'll talk and knock things over. It's a hot mess in my brain when that happens. But if I can find a little bit of humor from it as well, again, it's separating me from it, and now I can apply some humor and a different perspective to what that no actually meant and what it meant to me, as well as what it meant to like the feedback that I'm getting and the data that now I can utilize moving forward.
If you've been secretly saying to yourself, or maybe whispering to your best friend, I am ready to build the next chapter of my life or business instead of thinking about it, then Auraline is for you. This is the mastermind that women join when they're clear on what's misaligned, but they're not yet fully acting on the change. They're tired of circling around the same decision, and they're motivated, they're ready to move, but they're overwhelmed about where to start, and they're honestly just tired of doing it alone. Auraline is where women come to make that move. If this is feeling zesty in your soul and has got you sitting up a little bit taller, then go to lauraora.com/mastermind to learn more, or if you're ready to make the move, apply to get started. I think a lot of times we tie our value to that answer. The rejection means it wasn't good enough, or I'm not good enough, or they don't like it, they don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very emotional kind of
Yes.
intertwined situation. How do you unthread some of those fibers?
So I think about this a lot because, especially when it comes to really heavy rejections, I've had a chance to uh, have friends and relationships with folks that are part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and they've shared with me, like, when my family didn't accept me, when it felt like they rejected me, when I came out to them, it really felt like they were rejecting who I was.
Hmm.
And we've worked through this and it's been some hard conversations around it. And I was like, all right, did they really again reject you, or did they reject the opportunity to be in relationship with you?
Mm.
Did they reject the opportunity to actually include you in some of these family traditions and such? And of course, it still hurts. It still hurts because like so many times we hear that like that is they didn't recognize your value, or they didn't see your brilliance or whatever. But really, potentially it just wasn't a fit for them right now. They might not have the capacity to actually love you or include you or hire you. So it potentially could be a reflection of where that person is, not necessarily who you are or what your offer was.
That's great. That's really good. Yeah, and this is work. Right? It's
Hmm.
they call it a practice for a reason, because it's you don't just wake up one day and all of a sudden you're like, oh, rejection's fine. I'm good with it. And it's ever evolving because you're ever evolving. Something that's been really beneficial and helpful for me is, as a keynote speaker, I get rejection all the time. All the time, way more than I get yeses. And it's just part of the gig, right? It's just part of the process. And something
Hmm.
that's really helped me is to separate myself from the outcome,
Yeah.
the expectation of what I think the answer should be. Because when I'm like, they should hire me, which, okay, yes, I would like them to, of
Yes.
course. That's the goal. Otherwise, I wouldn't be applying or pitching. But when I'm so wrapped up in they have to choose me, this is right, I'm gonna bank on this thing. When I create those expectations around their answer and I don't get what I think I should have gotten,
Hmm.
that rejection is pokey and stabby and not very nice.
Yes.
So just removing myself from like, hey, I'm going to apply to this. And if I get it, great. And if I don't, great. It has nothing to do with my voice or my message or what I'm here to do. It's just another part of the process. So for whatever that's worth, that has been very helpful to me, is to release from the expectation of what I think the answer should be.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Like expectations are something that I've honestly been thinking a lot about too. And I heard you mention like kind of the two, like it's like kind of a yes or a no. And I was wondering like, what if we make expectations kind of a spectrum?
Mm,
And then like there's so many different ways that it could be a win. Like a win could come out of it in terms of like, all right, like maybe they'll open the email. Could that be a win? Instead of
yeah.
like, that yes or no, or maybe I'll have a chance to practice something new and learn something from it, or send the pitch proposal a little bit different. And maybe that's an expectation that we set that we can meet, that we can actually control, and that makes it less likely that we experience disappointment on the other end. I'm still thinking through this a lot. It's been top of
Yeah.
mind, but
No,
like,
I love it. Well, I like the idea of the spectrum because
mhm,
I can't tell you how many times that I've spoke at an event and the event was great, but nothing came after it. There's always the hope that I might inspire someone into action, whether that's inviting them into my world, whether that's working with them inside one of my programs, whether they want to book me to speak at their event. The hope is that that might snowball in the right direction.
mhm.
A lot of times it's silence. That doesn't mean that what I said didn't land. It just wasn't the right time for the opportunity. And I can't tell you how many times 6 months, 8 months, a year later, somebody will be like, I saw you speak at such and such event.
Mhm.
It's stuck with me ever since. I'd love for you to come speak at my company. We have an opening next month. Are you available? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, the immediate silence does not mean rejection. It just means that maybe it needs time to grow
Mhm.
into what it needs to be. Maybe the opportunity needs to open up for where I might step into somebody's life further. So, you just never know. And if you keep that mindset open, that like, hey, even ghosting isn't always bad, because again, I hear from people out of the woodwork sometimes. it's
Oh.
it's it's pretty crazy. How do you recommend that people keep their energy up as they're getting no's? Because that can really wear you down. especially if it just feels like rejection after rejection, whether that's in relationships or friendships or business opportunities or in your job, pitching ideas to your boss. I mean, this could apply to any situation. How do we stay high vibe when we're getting all these no's, my friend?
Oh, yes. I've had a lot of practice with this. And it's actually one of my favorite things to actually to do, honestly. Like we have to celebrate the no's. We have to celebrate, like have a rejection party. Honestly, like if you want to like print out the no's that you received in email, throw it into some confetti, do it. Like have some fun with this. Like laugh at the rejections. Like really kind of make it something not quite to look forward to, but if it does happen, if it does show up, when it does show up, at least like, all right, let's raise a glass to it, have a little fun, and celebrate that no. In addition, just like every other party, it's nice to have folks around with you. You don't want to just be the only one there at that party of rejection. So if you can have a community of folks that are with you, that are supporting you, that are reminding you, all right, yes, it was the offer, not you. Like you still have a purpose, you still matter, your values are still intact, you are still who you are. Like if you could have a little posse doing that, that's a great way to kind of keep that momentum going as well as putting yourself out there again. We have to we have to do it. It's not going to go away. Rejection's not going away. Fear isn't going away. It's going to have to be something that's it's part of our lives if we're living full out, if we're actually trying to, grow and be the people that we're meant to be. Rejection and fear, they're going to be around for a little bit. So put yourself out there again, put that offer on the line and recognize that, rejection I just had a thought because I'm not a fan of the sucky advice of rejection is redirection. Like I do not subscribe to that at all, and I wish people would stop saying it because I feel like it just like really discredits all the work that you've already done. Like you've gotten here for a reason. Like you've gone through these rejections. You probably needed that no to kind of refine your offer and all these beautiful things. So utilize that rejection as something to make whatever's next for you a little bit tighter, a little bit more efficient. Find the right person, refine it, make it even stronger so that when you face that yes, you're ready. When you receive that acceptance, you're ready because rejection isn't going to be the only thing that happens. Acceptance is going to come too. So those are the things that I keep in mind personally as I am navigating and encountering a lot of rejections. And that really kind of helps me keep the momentum going.
I love it. I love a good party. I mean, anytime confetti. Have you ever been mad when confetti is around?
No.
It just doesn't exist. I do agree with you that maybe have a friend with you because otherwise it feels like a pity party.
Yes.
Which may not be bad. Sometimes we need that. That's okay too. But it's this. It helps to further separate yourself from the decision or lack thereof, and I think that that's so important. And I'm really kind of curious. I want to poke at you a little bit more about this redirection thing.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not redirection, that it's actually refinement, is what I heard you say. So rejection being more of a refinement, it's an opportunity, and that's a really great mindset shift and action shift of like, okay, if I keep getting no's here, where might I shift this a little bit? Where might I tinker this a little bit? Where might I refine this a little bit so that I'm better prepared for the next one? How do you know how long to kind of sit with something if you keep getting rejections? Is it I need to stick it out and hold it? Or when do you know it's time to start refining? You know what I mean? I feel like that's a little bit of a gray area. What do you suggest in that space?
I would say that, each rejection comes with some kind of data. It comes with some kind of feedback. It comes with something that you probably could use, maybe for the offer or even for yourself in terms of like an area of growth. So I would say if you keep encountering the same no to the same offer, then it's probably time to kind of just shift the offer a little bit. Figure out how can you kind of tinker it to make it into something that actually is going to land with the right person at the right time. because potentially that is the problem. It's not the right person, it's not the right moment, or the offer itself needs to shift. I do not feel like there's a set time limit if it is really kind of part of your purpose. If it's something that, you have been divinely told and you kind of worked through and figured out that this is really what I'm meant to do and I'm supposed to be on this earth to do, all right, keep at it. That's fine. That's something that is part of your assignment. But if it's something that does not fit into like your assignments that tear up into your purpose, then all right, there might be something that is not in alignment here. And potentially the offer that you're putting on the line isn't actually yours to offer. So really kind of doing some self-reflection if you are a Christian person seeking God's advice, seeking advice from like the folks that are in your community to really kind of understand and unpack and make certain that you're not seeing anything, that you don't have any blind spots about what the offer is and if it is in alignment with your purpose or not. And that's kind of the telltale sign that it's all right, we should let this one go or we should keep on at it.
Yeah, sometimes we hang on to things because we've put so much time, money, or effort into it. And so therefore we feel attached to making it work, even though that maybe our energetics or our life has already shed it and we're just hanging on for dear life.
Yes.
There's been many a times where I'm like, no, I gotta do this thing because I did the thing and I want to do the thing. When I step back for a second and separate even from that decision, it's like, Laura, this you're trying to make something happen that's not for you anymore. It's okay to let things go. It really truly is. In fact, I dare I say it's necessary.
Yes.
We have to be willing to let things go regardless of the time, money, or energy that's been put into it, because if it's not in alignment, you're continuously pushing a boulder up a hill.
And that does not sound fun.
It's not a good time. It's not a good time at all. What is there a situation that you might be able to share with us that you've been through where you kept getting no's and then you kept refining it and then it worked out in a way that maybe you expected or didn't expect?
Well, I'm in the middle of some right now, so I'm
Oh,
hoping that it ends up landing how I would like to. I've been really kind of working through my offers in terms of the clients that I would like to work with. And because, of course, when you're in this industry of helping others kind of figure out their lives and get clear on them, like the offer is something that is important to them. But like I've been kind of shifting around to make certain that like, all right, my why is at the forefront of it, like the reasons that I want to help people and how this kind of connects to serving other folks. And right now, I'm working through that in real time. So hopefully it ends up landing and resonating with the right people at the right time. And I'm incredibly optimistic. So I know it will eventually. And if it doesn't, like at least I've learned from this and I've grown from it. And there's stuff that I can hopefully take from this and help serve other people when they're at a similar stage in their businesses.
yeah. See, I think it's great to hear that you're in the middle of this too. Like
Hmm.
sometimes we look at people and we're like, okay, well, Tanesha teaches people how to do this, how to get over rejection. So she must have it all figured out.
Oh
she's
no.
she's she's got it down packed, right? But it's just not the reality. I mean, a coach told me once that we teach what we most need to learn.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing that you are consistently faced with dealing with and handling rejection, because if that's what you're teaching, that's what the universe is going to put on your lap.
True.
I'm in the same boat. You know, I teach and guide women to make gutsy moves. The
Hmm.
universe is always putting me in situations to have to make the bold decision, or when to speak up or when to speak out, or when to make a move, when to take a risk. And like, sometimes I'm just like, can I just not? Can I just be with this season for a little bit longer? So, it's good stuff. And I want to make sure that people know where to find and connect with you, because I think this is really profound work. I think that this is something that um, every woman experiences, every person, but the ladies are listening here, experiences on a regular basis. So what is the best place to find and connect and work with you, my friend?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm on most social platforms, so Tanesha L. Moody for Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn as well, or at Full Out Coaching too. And I also have a website with some free resources if anyone's looking for a way to kind of reframe rejection. I do have an ebook as well that y'all are welcome to pick up for free on my website. And if you want to share a rejection with me, that's cool too. I would love to celebrate with you, celebrate that no, and cheer you on as you keep moving forward, because that's the part of life. And I'm excited that we get to do it together.
That's amazing. An idea. I have to give this to you. Maybe you
Yes.
already do this. You should host a once a month rejection party online.
Oh my gosh. I love
Like
it.
like a 30-minute or 60-minute space, open space where people can come in and you all have your own confetti in your own spaces or balloons or whatever you want and just host a rejection party. Make it part of the process.
I love it. That is so fun.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing those online.
Yes.
This has been fantastic, Tanesha. I got to know, what does gutsy mean to you, my friend?
Oh my goodness. When I first connected with you and I saw the work that you were doing, it connected to me in terms of full out living. Like it feels like it is such a risk to live full out. It is such a powerful move to make certain that you are where you're meant to be, that you are living your truth authentically and showing up how you need to show up and making an impact, a positive impact in the process. So that's what that means to me. It means living my life from a place that, yes, there's fear, but I'm still going to do it anyway.
One of my favorite parts about this conversation was the simple, grounded reminder that our worth is not tied up in someone else's decision of what we are offering. My gosh, I have been turned down and or ignored for speaking gigs more times than I ever even care to count. Like I use monday.com for my project management system. And so I have a track record of all the no's. And every once in a while I'll browse through it and it's just like, oh my gosh. But it's a reminder that when you stay grounded with yourself, you're clear on who you are and what your message is. The no's are there for a reason. And it's creating space and capacity for the most aligned opportunities. If we're not already friends online, come find me. My handle is @thatlauraora. I'm across all the platforms. And of course, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.